Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be talking about the VCL Split 2 for Korea that just finished as I'm making this video of the 3rd of June. So I just decided I would just get right into it. Well, let's first start off with the participants, that being Dplus, SLT, Maru Gaming, Shadow Corporation, SNJ Esports, Nongshim Red Force, Algrowth Story, and Onslayers. Yes, the Onslayers, which we all thought was going to challenge DRX last season. That did not happen. We'll also have a look at the players as well. Some of them might know, some that you might not know. Obviously, there's been a bunch of changes as well between both splits. I'm not really going to get into that. I guess like some of them probably talk about Secret. He has joined Maru Gaming, I'm pretty sure, and then on Slayers they basically acquired their roster, which was never give up, which has like Hayden and Byungjun. Obviously Byungjun, he used to be part of T1. Hayden, I'm pretty sure he used to be part of New Turn Gaming. So that's some interesting stuff there. So we'll first have a look now at the group stage before we get over to the playoffs, and this is what the standings look like for the group stage. Dplus had a 6-1 record. Then we got Maru Gaming, Onslayers, Shadow Corporation, SLT, and Nongshim Red Force. And 7th and 8th, that includes Algrowth Story and CNJ Esports. Pretty surprised about CNJ Esports, but for Algrowth Story, not really surprised about that. Let's now have a look now at the regular season results. I'm only going to, just speed through some of these, which could be interesting, and I've already found something which is pretty interesting. SLT, they beat out Dplus, which, I'll be honest, I'm not really surprised, because Dplus, formerly named Damwon Gaming, they normally have a very slow start to the season, and then they progressively get better and better and better. I'm pretty sure they had this last split as well, so I wasn't really surprised that they lost this. And to be fair, SLT, normally formerly called Rio Company, they're actually a really good team. And ultimately, they came second in the first split behind Dplus. So I'm not really surprised about this, I'll be honest. What kind of surprised me was Split. That was very much domination for SLT. But yeah, I don't know. It was strange. It's probably also because they used Gecko on Lotus, which was a bit of a weird, a pretty interesting choice back then, but I'm pretty sure now is kind of like the norm. I'm pretty sure Gecko, he's in a lot more compositions now in some of the maps, maybe Pearl might be one of them. I don't think Icebox, but yeah, Bind, I forgot about Bind. I'm pretty sure he's used it quite a lot on Bind, and maybe even Haven. But I can't remember if Lotus is actually one of Gecko's best maps. I can't remember right now. It's too many characters I need to think about, but yeah, this was not really surprising for me. Algrow's Story, obviously, they got 2 wins from the standings, and one of their wins came from Shadow Corporation, who was also part of the top 6. Pretty close game, though. Icebox went to Shadow Corporation 13-8, but then 13-11 on both Pearl and Lotus went to Algrow's Story, and we see as well that Algrow's Story also used Phoenix on Pearl, so they're using a bit of we're using a bit of the Paper X scrapbook of using Phoenix on Pearl, which is actually surprisingly quite viable. And both teams use Chamber on Lotus, which is interesting, but okay. I mean, I've never seen a Chamber mirror, but whatever. But either way, it didn't matter because Algrowth Story, they still won against Shadow Corporation, and they also won against SLT. 13-0 on split. I think that might be the first and only 13-0 in this split for Korea, but I might be wrong about that. So Algrowth Story, they won split, and then Fracture went to SLT, and then 13-11 on Ascent went to Algrowth Story. But it's pretty surprising. I thought, Algrowth Story, I thought they were gonna maybe do well, but yeah, that did not happen because they kind of just got flomped. Week 2 now. CNJ, yeah, this one. CNJ Esports winning against Algrowth Story 2-0. Not really surprised about this one, but at the same time, CNJ, they're kind of shit. They're pretty bad throughout this whole split. So they should have also gotten a win, but luckily they did. Obviously against the 7th place team, even though they won against Shadow Corporation and SLT. And hell, SLT, they made it to the grand final. Okay. But either way, not surprised at this one at all. Just, yeah, that's all related to say. Just not really surprised about that one. week 3 we now move on to, and there's nothing really interesting here. I had to really say, if I ever look at the thing, nothing really interesting. I'll be honest. It kind of just whatever, just kind of just the same really. And then week 4, nothing really poking, like sticking out to me. Nothing really as well for week 4. So week 3 and 4, they were kind of just civil and kind of just where we kind of all thought that they were going. But yeah, just week 1, I was pretty crazy with Dplus losing to SLT, but at the same time, I wasn't really surprised about that. And then our growth story getting a couple wins against SLT and Shadow Corporation, and CNJ winning it against them in week 2. And then week 3, 4, kind of just quiet. So with the regular league out of the way, let's now talk about the playoffs. And this is what the playoff looks like. So Shadow Corporation, first of all, they are 2-0 SLT. Not really surprised by this one. Shadow Corporation obviously had a higher seed than SLT. 13-5 on split, 13-7 on bind, with Stu and Yeoman gaining the MVP. So basically how the career works is that here on Wikipedia, it will list out the players who got MVP on each map. So pretty sure Stu got MVP on split, while Yeoman, he got MVP on bind. That's basically how that works. So wasn't really surprised about this one. Pretty surprised about this one here. I had quite a lot of high hopes for Onslayers coming into this playoffs. I thought they were going to do really well, and they lose to Nongshim Red Force. 2-1 for Nongshim Red Force, 13-7 on Haven for Red Force, 13-10 for Onslayers, and 13-11 on Lotus for Red Force. It was a close game though. On Pearl Lotus, very, very close. Margaret, he was MVP on Haven. Hate was MVP on Pearl, while Jungkai, he was MVP on Lotus. So that was, it's just on Slice every single time when I have such high hopes for the team, they flop. So I'll probably keep that in mind next time. If I see Onslayers, I won't have any hope for them, and then they will somehow just win it all. But it's alright though, I guess. Upper bracket semifinals, wasn't really surprised by this one at all, really. Dplus winning against Shadow Corporation, no surprise. 13-11 on Haven, 13-9 on Pearl, 2-0 victory. Not really surprising there. Esperanza, he was MVP on Haven, while Lakia, he was MVP on Pearl. And Maru Gaming winning against Nongshim Red Force. Nongshim Red Force actually made the game pretty competitive, especially on Ascent and Lotus. Haven, not really. That was 13-6 on Haven for Maru Gaming, and then Ascent went to Nongshim Red Force, 13-11, and then 13-9 on Lotus for Maru Gaming. I'm not really surprised about this result, I'll be honest. Coming into this, I knew Maru Gaming was probably going to struggle, even though they were the second seed. I knew the teams either Nongshim Red Force or Onslayers were going to give them a run for their money. But close victory there for Maru Gaming, so they advanced to the upper bracket final. Bayan got MVP on both Haven and the final map of Lotus, while on Ascent in between was Cloudy. For lower bracket quarterfinals, it was SLT knocking out Nongshim Red Force. They're kind of even, so no surprise in there. Bind went 13-9 for Nongshim Red Force, and then 13-10 on Split, and 13-6 on Lotus went to SLT. Yeah, just SLT, they looked really, really clean in this map. I should say, in this whole match, I should say. And Cloudy, he got MVP on Bind when Red Force won, but then Sunday he got MVP on Split, and then Jingbongi, he was an MVP on Lotus for SLT. And then Onslayers, they basically they wipe out Shadow Corporation out of the playoffs. 2-0 victory for Onslayers, 13-9 on Lotus, 13-11 on Bind. So it wasn't really like a sweep on the floor. But they made it pretty close. Shadow Corporation used Yoru for some reason as a second duelist, which is interesting. And then Onslayers was using Reina. So a bit of interesting picks on Bind, we'll say, but it worked out for one of them, which was Onslayers. And Byungjan, he was MVP on both maps, on both Lotus and Bind. So you could tell that Byungjan, he had the game of his life in that match. But it wasn't really all sunshine and roses though for Onslayers as they lose to SLT in the lower bracket semifinals, and this was a close-ass game. I wasn't expecting this game to be really, really close. 14-12 on Lotus went to overtime once. 15-13 on Fracture went to overtime twice, and then 13-11 on Lotus was very, very close to going into another overtime. Yeah, I mean, I'm just surprised at how close this whole game was. It was just bizarre to me for some reason. But Jin Bongi, he got MVP on both Haven and Lotus, and on Fracture with Onslayers one, it was Nakji who got MVP. But at least Onslayers, they lost without, well, I should say, they lost with, while fighting. Well, with a good fight. I can't really word it correctly because I'm a bit tired, but that's okay. Our bracket final though, Dplus, they continue their run and through the playoff bracket as they win against Maru Gaming, 13-10 on Lotus, 13-11 on Ascent. Maru Gaming, they did put up a good fight. Esperanza and X again MVP. It would be very difficult for a team to beat out Dplus in the playoffs because obviously Dplus, they were the favorites coming in. You can maybe say Maru Gaming, maybe SLT. I don't know who else you could really say. But obviously Dplus, they were the favorites to win and to basically make it to a grand final win. So it would be difficult for a team to beat out Dplus here in the playoffs. And it kind of went bad from worse for Maru Gaming as they also lost to SLT. This one kind of surprised me. I had high hopes for Maru Gaming. I thought they're going to at least win a close game against SLT, but when it's 3-1 to SLT, and the only like close games was like Fracture, which SLT won, and Lotus, which Maru Gaming won, and the others was like 13-8 on Ascent and 13-3 on Split. Makes sense. I mean, I'm pretty sure after this, I think Maru Gaming dropped Persia and Secret from the lineup. We'll see what they want to do with the remaining players. But hopefully they come back stronger next year. But yeah, I'm just I was not a fan of this, I'll be honest. Like, not good. But Sungjin, he was MVP on Fracture. Sunday, he was MVP on Ascend. Secret, he was MVP on Lotus for Maru Gaming. While Sleeg, I'm pretty sure did I say his name, might be wrong. He was MVP on Split. Not really surprised about that, I'll be honest. Yeah, just Maru Gaming, it kind of shocked me there of how badly they played in this match. And then in the grand final, yeah, I mean, slow start for Dplus, but they got it going. They kind of destroyed SLT at the very end. Oh god, 13-10 on Haven once again was the only close match, or I should say the close map in this game. And then 13-3 on Lotus, 13-6 on Pearl, and 13-4 on Ascent. It wasn't even close on the next three maps. Dplus, they finally brought it back. They finally understood what was happening. They brought it back and they won. I don't know who was MVP for this. Obviously, by me making this video pretty early, there's been no MVP, but I'm gonna refresh, so I'll be back. Well, there's no MVP here. But I guess we'll actually have a look at the VLR page for the grand final. So here it is, the grand final in for Korea, and I mean, it might be Xe, it might be Estrella. I'm not really too sure. I can't remember who the MVPs were, I'll be honest, in each map. But yeah, I'm guessing Haven went to Sleeg, and then Lotus, I'm not really too sure. I guess it's just based off stats. I guess we'll find out there. So Haven, obviously that went to SLT, obviously Seongnam, obviously, which is a Korean city. Might be Jingbungi actually. I'm pretty sure Jingbungi might have gotten MVP, but I might be wrong about that for SLT. 13-3 on Lotus for Dplus. Probably Xe or Allow might have gotten MVP for that. Pearl went to 13-6 for Dplus. It was definitely Estrella. I don't know who else you could really say for that. And then on 13-4 on Ascent for Dplus, probably Lakia or even Estrella again. Basically, Estrella, he had the game of his life. Xe as well, he was really, really good in this game, and they punched their ticket to Ascension to Bangkok, Thailand. Now, obviously, Dplus, they are the first team to punch their ticket to Bangkok. And then obviously the other regions like Thailand, there's a chance the full San Xerxio of main Thailand will make it in. Vietnam, it would be France United Esports or Lazy but want to win. Malaysia, Singapore, I'm pretty sure that's happening right now. It's Bleed versus X10 for the grand final. Might be wrong. I think actually might be tomorrow. Japan, that's either JD8, Scars, or Fennel. I'm pretty sure the Scars and Fennel match is currently happening right now as I record. And then Hong Kong, Taiwan, One Team, Anti-Eco Club, and Oblivion Force. Philippines, Oasis Gaming, NASA Esports, and Zol Esports. I'm pretty sure that's the name. And then Indonesia for the grand final, it'll be Dominators versus Boom Esports. And I have a lot of things to say about Dominators because they have one particular player who I think might be already signed to a VCT partner team, but we'll see about that. As for Oceania, South Asia, nothing really happening there. But that's really about it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys next time in the next one. Goodbye.